Hey everybody, Rob from Karma Comment Chameleon coming at you today with another story from the ProRevenge archives. Scream at me and my friend in the bookstore? Let me end your entire career. Let's jump right in. Backstory. Back when I was in college, my pathophysiology class had a final project worth 50% of the total grades we could earn, and groups were picked at the beginning of the semester. This was a massive project that you were expected to start working on at the beginning of the semester, and if you thought you could do it all last minute, you were probably in for a bad time. It was myself, two other girls who I knew worked hard, and then this one guy that the one girl was crushing on. She had to add him to our group because he was cute or something. I have no idea. I call him idiot every time I tell the story though, because he truly was an idiot. The girls were fantastic and everyone pulled their own weight during this project, with the exception of Idiot. Idiot never once did any of the group project work. He ignored all messages through texting and Facebook, but would answer the one girl if she was flirting with him. He would only show up to class maybe twice a month, if that. He would constantly post photos of himself on vacations in Mexico or the Bahamas. I'm pretty sure he spent more time out of the country than in it. 1 week before the project is due, he messages the group asking what pages in the textbook he needs to look through to do his part of the project. We tell him what he needs to do and where to find the information. We laid everything out for him. If we did anything more, we would be better off doing his part of the project ourselves. Idiot thanks us and then disappears. We all assumed he was doing the work he needed to do, and we were prepared to take a hit on our marks because he didn't have anything done up until now, so the quality of his work was probably terrible at best. Project due date rolls around and he's nowhere to be found and is ignoring all of our desperate messages. We, myself and the two girls, go to the professor and tell her everything that happened, along with screenshots of the literal months worth of conversations where we constantly tried to get Idiot to come to labs with us or the library, where we offered to help him do his part. The professor was not amused, immediately fired off an email to Idiot and CC'd the head of the program as well, basically saying that Idiot needs to either do his part and show up to class the next week with it, or he will receive a 0 and the rest of us won't be affected. Can you guess what happened? Idiot was a no answer and no show, with no excuses or anything. Professor gave him a fat 0. Turns out that he needed to do this project and do well on it to pass. He bombed every test, and with this failure, he was denied from passing that semester. I'm fairly certain he had to retake that course during the summer, which means he, or more likely his mom, had to shell out another $1,300 just for that class. A couple of months later in the college bookstore, Idiot and his mom, I call her Screamer, ran into myself and the other girl who didn't like him, and Screamer just loses it on the girl and I, screaming at us, saying we constantly harassed her son and she was going to make it impossible for myself or the girl to find work. Idiot's mom worked in the same field that our degrees were for. She sat in the board of directors for the Public Health Alliance for the area, so she was a public figure and a supposedly well-behaved and educated one too. She was escorted out by security shortly after, but that wasn't all she had planned. Screamer ended up dragging myself and the girl through every single college meeting they could schedule regarding our non-existent negative behavior towards her son, where he claimed he was constantly harassed, yet with no proof. It was literal months of this poor girl and I having to change our schedules for school, classes, and studying, so we didn't have any classes or chance happenings and run-ins with Idiot, as that's what the college demanded we do. It made our last year or 2 semesters living hell because we couldn't be anywhere near Idiot, otherwise we could face interdisciplinary hearings or worse. Now for the revenge. The security company that handled the contract for the college was also the same company that handled the contract where I used to work. I was extremely close friends with the night shift supervisor, going out for drinks and playing Halo all night with him and his girlfriend, sort of close. So one night after I finished work, I asked him for a favor, on the promise that I wouldn't tell a soul he helped me, and telling him he'd have another great video to share with his friends. I asked him to let me email the video to my personal email account. After I told him what had happened and on what day and time it happened, he drove me to the campus. Just after the main building had closed, him and I walked over to his security office where they have all of the recordings that run back to the day the security system was installed. He brought the video up of Idiot's mom in the college bookstore, audio and all, of her screaming at myself and my friend. He recognized Screamer. Turns out she's done this before at a different site he patrols, and that he was told he had to keep it quiet by his superiors. I told him he could be as quiet as he wanted, but I was going to get my revenge on her. A quick email later, and I was in possession of the video. I found out who the rest of the board members were over the course of a few days, and they were all sent an email with the video of Screamer going apeshit in the college bookstore, screaming at an obviously confused guy and a freaked out girl. The audio perfectly captured the moment where she threatened to make it impossible for me or the girl to find any work anywhere within that district, followed by her argument with security as she was escorted out. I never received any replies from the board members, so I just waited to see what would happen. Screamer was voted out from her position the following week after the video was shown during one of the meetings she was attending. She lost her very cushy government job and was last seen working in an old age home, according to a mutual friend. I'm not sure what happened to Idiot, but I did hear from the same mutual friend that he never did graduate and works at a call center now. The girl and I ended up finding full-time work immediately after graduating, never had an issue there. Oh, and the security guard ended up getting hired by the RCMP, so I guess good things do happen to good people. There were two more shorter stories in the comments for this one, and they're pretty good, so I figured we'd read them here as well. The first one says, reminds me of a dude in a class of mine. Wound up getting stuck on 2 group projects with him. He kept acting like a dictator, overwriting my parts of the project, kept being impatient when I wouldn't immediately show him my part of the work when I was in the middle of getting it up to standard, etc. I was doing significant amounts of work, and rather than help me with parts of the assignments I wasn't understanding, he'd do them himself. So then I found out he was telling several of my friends that I was lazy, slacking off, etc., which couldn't be further from the truth. He was doing it to another friend of mine in another one of his classes too. So anyway, after he went around calling me lazy, a slacker, etc., our final exam came. I passed, he didn't. Karma is beautiful. The second comment says, I really hate shared Google Docs and slides. While I am working on a project, my notes are practically gibberish. I only clean it up after all my research is done and compiled. Because of this, I keep them on a separate doc and transfer in the finished file. I of course keep my group members updated on what I have and my method. I had one group project, an anthropology presentation, where we were graded by what each of us individually contributed, checked by document history, and we each had our own section to work on. One member of the project really didn't like my methods and kept pestering me. At first, I would show her my work and explain the research, but this really was not a collaborative project, and our group never even met up, so eventually I just started ignoring her extra texts and giving the standard weekly updates. The last week I checked the slide, she had deleted my name and done my work, except she had also done it horribly, and come to some fairly unethical conclusions on the subject. I re-added my name, deleted her work in my section, and left it about a week before the presentation. I guess she never looked at it again because when she clicked next slide, it totally blindsided her. I've personally had the issue of lazy people both in the workplace and in school. Some people just don't want to do their part. So you work hard as you can to try and get your grade, and just make sure that the teacher or trainer knows exactly what's going on with the person who isn't pulling their own weight. I want to thank OP for posting their story to the ProRevenge subreddit. You can visit them at the links in the description below. Please go there and give them an upvote. Once again, this is Rob from Karma Comment Chameleon saying thanks for watching. If you enjoyed the video, please hit that subscribe button, drop a like, and share it with your friends. And we'll see you in the next one.